4-1 the final score. The Nashville Predators go into Rexall in Edmonton and drop the Edmonton Oilers. Not the sort of game that Edmonton Oilers fans were looking for the game. Welcome to the Hockey Night in Canada post-game show. If you're just joining us because, screw the games, you want to watch these guys, I don't blame you. Nate Kiprios, Kelly Rudy, Elliot Friedman as well. My name is George. As far as storylines go, there are a couple on both sides, including the way one team tackles face-off, specifically the Nashville Predators. But first, let's just start with the Zack Kassian the hit, and what's happened since. What do you make of that?
Well, first of all, I think the linesman, Ryan Galloway, deserves a lot of credit for the way he handled this. So Kassian gets caught up here, and he's getting a penalty, and obviously he's trying to get everything going here. He's got Barrett Jackman telling him off, and God only knows what Barrett Jackman is saying to him at this particular point in time. But he kind of shoves the linesman Galloway on the way out. And I really thought that Galloway did a great job here not escalating the situation. And Nick, what this is going to come down to usually in these situations is the official's report. He's going to have to file a report after the game saying, why'd you give him the 10-minute misconduct and what exactly did Kassian do? And I know that the league, when it comes to suspending players or punishing players for touching officials, they really rely on those reports a great deal.
Yeah, and you're right, Elliot. It'll come down to what the official writes down. They tend to know those situations pretty good. I don't expect anything to come out of this. Maybe a fine. Mm-hmm. Maybe they want to remind players that there's zero tolerance when it comes to handling the officials. But I don't see an overreaction out of the official. I don't expect him to be really upset or emotional on it. They know what's happening with the players, and sometimes you feel a little claustrophobic in a certain situation. Mm-hmm. Sometimes they'll grab you in a certain way that you're not comfortable with. It's not perfect, but I didn't see anything that was truly out of the ordinary except a 10-minute misconduct, which is appropriate.
None of us have been in that situation where the linesman's grabbing you. How long is the amount of time? What's appropriate? Yeah. How long can a linesman
You know what,
bear hug you?
Everybody's different. Everybody's different. The objective of the official is to calm the waters down and get you out of a potential dangerous situation for everybody. And we saw what was perceived as a sucker punch tonight. Mm-hmm. That's the last thing you want to see. Everybody's different. But I didn't see anything that really caused me concern if I'm the NHL to suspend him.
Let's stay on the sucker punch tip and possible suspension. What's the update on Milan Lucic? He threw one earlier in the game against Arizona.
So, well, first of all, we learned that tonight Nick really liked The Revenant. So, pretty intense movie. So here it is, and Connaughton slashes Lucic, and afterwards, Lucic, there's the slash, and then Lucic goes looking for him a bit later on and punches him in the head. Lucic was ejected from the game. Connaughton did get a slashing penalty, and after the game, Lucic had some pretty interesting comments to the Kings reporters. He took a run verbally at the referee, Brad Myers, saying it's about the fourth or fifth time that Myers thrown him out of a game, and he feels that whenever he retaliates, Meyer punishes him. So we'll see where this goes.
And that whenever anybody does anything to him, they ignore it.
You know what's funny? Like Shaquille O'Neal, who obviously had a huge part of his career in LA, winning 3 NBA titles with the Lakers, he always used to say the exact same thing, that guys do worse to me than I could ever do to them. And if I ever did what guys did to me, I'd be thrown out of every game. It's kind of the argument that Lucic is making.
Let's get back to the game that we saw just now with the
Maybe
Predators.
A fine for Lucic. I'm up to a fine.
You're up to a fine?
You're willing to go that far?
I'm willing to go as far as a fine.
You're getting soft, Nick. It was the bear attack that softened you. That's what it was. What about the Paul Gaustad face-off situation? Because you're watching this game tonight and thinking, is that fair? Mm-hmm. Always going down on one knee. What do you make of that?
Well, first we heard of it was Damian Cox a few weeks ago with you, and headlines was talking about the Dallas Stars, that the league was watching them. And that's when I really started to take notice of it. And to me, it is an issue. I think that certain guys are much better at it than other centers, and they use that leverage. They get down on the one knee, and whether it's in the sense of just greater strength or some sort of interference on the other guy's stick, it is something that I'm trying to come to grips with in the sense of what is the advantage, how often is it used, and moving forward, will the league have to do something about this?
We saw a situation where he lost the face-off. Now I'm thinking, you're in a vulnerable position being off the ice, you're having to skate off the ice. I mean, center needs to stay on center. And if that's the case, if you're down on one knee, how is that really benefiting you on a lost draw?
And wouldn't you, if you're the opposing center, the accidental high stick? Oh, sorry.
At this point, but vulnerable positions. Yeah. What do you think?
Well, I think the guy who was really targeted was Vern Fiddler from Dallas. And I think there were a couple guys in Montreal who do it too. But one of the things I think the league is doing is they're charting is this ruling advantage. And I wonder if they're keeping track of face-offs like this to see, okay, how many draws does Vern Fiddler when he does this? How many draws does Gaustad's one of the best face-off guys in the league. How many draws does he win when he does this? I think they're trying to determine if it really is an advantage and if it's something they really have to deal with.
There's a lot to come in tonight's Hockey Night in Canada postgame show. We got Jordan Eberle, right? We're still waiting to hear from Jordan Eberle a little bit later on. We're going to have an interview with him and maybe even Tyler Bozak. Oh my God, men in comfortable chairs next on Hockey Night in Canada.